In 1997, Robert Kiyosaki released a financial success book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. The book flew off the shelves and catapulted the author into being a household name. In one of his books, he mentions that there's a huge difference between being wealthy and being rich. And he went on and said something astounding, that the rich have cash on deck, but the wealthy don't worry about cash. I found this exceptionally interesting since I've continuously thought that the two go hand in hand. In my head, if you were rich, then you were wealthy and you were living the life that you wanted to live. But this isn't true. Just because you have cash in your bank account doesn't mean that you're wealthy. Often when I imagine the rich, I picture them driving fast cars and wearing fancy clothes with everything that they want in life. I wanted to be rich, drive the car I wanted, own my own home, wear designer clothes, or maybe even fly to Mars with Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk. Growing up, I lived in a middle-class home. My mom was an entrepreneur and my dad worked a 9-to-5 job. I don't know what it's like to be hungry, but I also don't know what it's like to get whatever I want, whenever I want it. My parents supported me greatly and they made sure that I had the best education possible and the best opportunity to chase after my dreams. Albeit, that's great. I did observe my parents stress over money at times. And what I know now is that the wealthy don't stress over money. So what were my parents doing wrong? If you want to be in the position where money is not stressed in your life, let us know in the comments below and be sure to hit the like button, sub button, and bell button. The straightforward distinction between a rich individual and a wealthy person is that a well-off individual has maintainable riches. In other words, a wealthy individual will continuously be wealthy, while somebody who's only rich will only be wealthy for a brief period of time until the money runs out. I'm beyond any doubt a lot of you have listened to stories on wealthy on-screen characters, celebrities, proficient competitors, and so on, who were once living their best life with a huge house, fast cars, expensive clothes, and vacationing all over the world, but are presently on the skirt of financial liquidation because of destitute monetary abilities and attempting to sustain this way of life for a long time. You've heard the lottery stories where people went to bed broke and woke up a millionaire and then they blew all of their money and ended up broke again in the next few years. So let's utilize Frank as an example case. Frank could be a specialist with an annual pay of $310,000. Most of this wage is earned from his work, with 5% of his wage coming from a side income. By all accounts and measures, Frank is a rich man. He owns a huge house. He's living in a great neighborhood. He has 2 luxury cars, one for himself and the other one he bought for his spouse. His children go to good private schools and he has a membership at his local golf club. So Frank clearly has lots of money. He does his job to make sure that he looks the part, which comes with the cost, right? This includes mortgages to pay. He has transportation costs. He has to take care of a young family. He's got to pay insurance, put aside money for his kids' college fund, and etc. Oh, also, did I forget to mention, every year he takes a trip with his family. When you subtract these uses from his yearly pay, at that point, Frank actually doesn't have that much in his bank account. Frank spends almost $21,500 each month on his expenses, and his savings amounting to about $42,500 in his bank account. And so, since wealthy is characterized as a status of an individual's financial resources to support an individual's way of living for a long period of time, even if in the event that the person stops working, in actuality, Frank really isn't wealthy. If he doesn't work, he can't support his lifestyle. In order to be wealthy, typically you need cash coming in on a consistent premise that's able to support your current standard of living for many years. This implies that if Frank lost his job, he would only be able to feed his family for 2 months. At that point, he would really be in a tough spot to replace his income and find a new job. Frank is rich, but not wealthy. Now, let's look at the case of a wealthy individual. Kiyosaki said that whereas the rich have lots of cash, the well-off do not stress about cash. For example, Bill Gates. Bill Gates is one of the wealthiest men in the world. He's a business magnate, financial specialist, donation charitable person, helpful, and a creator. As of early 2018, Bill Gates was worth a mammoth $97.4 billion. It's assessed that each second, Bill Gates earns approximately $130, which interprets to around $7,800 each minute. Bill Gates makes more an hour than Frank gains after an entirety of working for a year. Yet Frank is considered rich. Being well off is basically being fiscally free. Being well off is also being monetarily free. This implies that you simply do not live paycheck to paycheck, and you do not necessarily need to form any more cash over a long period of time, since you've got enough money spared or passive wage streaming in from your resources and speculations to maintain your current way of life for the rest of your life. Bill Gates doesn't actively work for $135 a second, or the nearly $7,800 he will earn by the conclusion of this video. This is a passive income that he gets in his rest, when he's playing golf, and when he's giving away $4 billion yearly to the causes that are dear to his heart. Wealthy is sustainable riches. Essentially, a wealthy individual who never runs out of cash. In the event that Frank quits his job today, he will most likely get bumped into the middle class. On the off chance that Bill Gates chooses to quit today and becomes a stationary individual who eats, rests, and eats once more, he can keep up his lifestyle for hundreds of years. But you don't have to be born rich or own a large business like Microsoft to be considered wealthy. As long as you've got salary streaming in that you're not directly working for and can sustain your current way of living, you will be considered wealthy. Before this video, if you thought of a wealthy individual, you thought of somebody who buys both what their wants and their needs. You know, the $5,000 suit, the $3,000 watch, a luxury imported car, or the new Corvette C8, the enormous house on the shoreline, and so on. Now that you know the truth, just because you see somebody who looks like they have it all, doesn't mean that they do. They could be living paycheck to paycheck or suffocating in debt. Many individuals who say, "I need to be wealthy," aren't really searching for financial security. What they need is the social status and distinction they relate with the $1 Million Club. So now, I leave you with this question. Are you trying to be rich or wealthy? Let us know what you thought of the video in the comments below. Do us a favor, hit the like button, the sub button, the bell button, and we will see you next time.